Hey guys, and welcome to Crit or Miss Alignment Check, a brand new feature to Crit Happens where we're going to be adventuring deep into the Am I the Asshole subreddit in search of D&D related dramas. Each week, our panel will discuss and pass judgment on the original poster's story to decide whether they're lawful good, not an asshole, or chaotic evil, definitely an asshole. I'm Kate, DM, player, and general D&D enthusiast, and joining me tonight we have our judges, Andy, Pip, and Jack. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello. Low energy. I love it.
Oh.
We are good?
I'm just holding it all in for when I need to.
I'm just hyping it up. I'm ready.
Ready for these fun stories I'm about to give you.
I feel like I need a gavel.
Oh, we need gavels. We need gavels.
No, we don't.
On the next installment, wigs, gavels.
I'm actually more
Those
impressed I
little
knew what a gavel
black
was.
capes.
I'm impressed.
That is impressive, actually.
I panicked when I said it. I was like, is it a gabble or a gavel?
Are you advertising Coca-Cola on this one, Andy?
Coca-Cola, only with Andrew. Ding. I'll put a little spark.
He'd really be advertising it if he showed you his desk with the 500,000 cans of Coke.
Hey, out, man.
Outrageous. Okay, are you guys ready for the first one?
Let's do it.
Okay, it's a bit of a long one actually, and there's a lot of statistics in here, okay, so you're going to have to kind of bear with me and pay attention.
I wasn't ready for math.
Yeah, I know.
We don't have to do maths. We're not playing D&D.
Hey,
There's going to be a
the
test
asshole.
afterwards.
Yeah, right there.
Confirmed.
Done. Judgment passed. Video done.
Finish the episode. We're finished.
Yes, you are.
I struggled reading with this one in places because the
Struggled
numbers
what?
appeared quite a few times. Huh?
You struggled what?
Reading.
Reading.
Fuck my life, bruv.
You'll never live it down. Okay,
Hey,
here we go. Brace yourselves. Am I the asshole for rolling well in my D&D group?
Yes.
Done. Let's give this person a chance. You don't know, okay? There could be some details in here that make you change your mind. It's a known thing in my Dungeons and Dragons group that I roll really, really well. I have a level 10 Tabaxi rogue that I've been playing for 2 years now and built her to be super optimized for what I like to do. That being said, I have proficiency/expertise in many of the skills I use frequently that give her, or him, a +6 or more most of the time. I got a message from my DM saying other players were concerned I was fudging rolls, and he said it very tactfully, no hate to him. I explained that I get how it looks from not being able to see my stat sheet and how well I roll. To put it to the test, I've been rolling all my dice, and today all the dice of my significant other, to see what my percentages are. 60 to 80% of my rolls end up being half or better. When paired with my stats, that equals a lot of big numbers. While I understand what it looks like, I'm very annoyed that this player didn't come to me directly and wanted to go through our DM. We all went to college together and are great friends, so it feels like a little stab in the back that they felt like they couldn't come to me with it. As an angry little response, I want to share a photo of the 150 dice I rolled to prove I didn't cheat. Would that make me an asshole? And then there's an edit here, guys. So people clearly had some issues. I do not use weighted dice or any kind of rolling pattern. Someone else in the group bought me the set of dice I used most from a seller online. I'm seeing a lot of suggestions to let everyone see my rolls. 1, we play online because we're divided by states. 2, we always show our faces or have a map or something as the main screen. So I'm not buying a second camera to be able to project my rolls to everyone. My boyfriend is there when I play and he can vouch for me. I'm also seeing a lot of people saying I should do whatever they ask. They didn't give me any suggestions because my DM believes me and was acting on someone else's behalf. The photo was a bad idea, but I'm not sure what else to do. I also don't tend to use many of the other skills that I'm not proficient or have expertise in, not because I'm trying to be OP'd, but because I have a lot of them, and then she goes into details. And it makes sense that my character wouldn't use the other ones. She's dumb and grew up on the streets, so she's not going to be the one to make Arcana checks. Because we're level 10, my expertise skills are +9 or +10, which can make bad rolls mediocre, and other skills are +5 or +6, which can make mediocre rolls good. The dice rolling was something I started for fun, just to see if probability reigns true, and it doesn't because it's all chance. The 150 dice I rolled are not all my own and have been rolled multiple times for the same results. And then she gives a whole load of percentages. My boyfriend suggested sending the photo after watching me roll every single one of them. Whew, that's a hot date night. My DM also uses the rule that most of the time you can't roll lower than your passive perception/wisdom on perception checks. Mine is a 19 thanks to the observant feat, so I cannot get lower than a 19 on that check. The funny thing is, the girl who I think posed the complaint has a copy of my sheet. It's from level 8, so not completely updated, but I don't think any of my stats have changed other than hit points and damage dice. And for everyone saying that's not how statistics work, or I didn't have a big enough sample size, I rolled 1,252 dice in total from a few different groupings. Mine, 55 dice, unused dice, 150 total. She rolled a lot of dice, it goes on.
What?
And she says at the end, strange how statistics don't actually work in real life.
What? Right, no, you're an asshole.
We absolutely love a petty queen, but fuck me, she's got too much time on her hands.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
The mathematician in me is just boiling. Statistics isn't real in real life. Is that what she said? Or he?
Strange how statistics don't actually work in real life.
Strange that, isn't it? Yeah, really strange, yeah.
I don't get this whole I only do the skill checks that I know I'm good at thing. Like, how do you work that out? Is the DM kind of being like, who wants to roll the perception check today, guys? Oh yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, in some groups, you will often have people, and I don't agree that this is a play style that we use or anything, but you do get a lot of groups where, let's say the DM says, hey, there's an NPC here, shopkeeper. He's willing to give you a discount if you can roll me a persuasion check. And then the person who's talking to the shopkeeper won't be necessarily making that persuasion check. They'll ask their mate to do it and say, oh, can you make the persuasion check? It doesn't make a lot of sense in the context, but there are groups that do.
Yeah. It's a different play style. I think at the core of this, obviously she's got some friends that aren't happy that she's rolling lots of dice that tend to have high outputs. But if she is cheating, let's say she is, this for argument's sake, literally only cheating herself. And also, you know, if that's what she wants to do, then whatever. Like it's not a competition about who can roll the highest checks.
It's not achieving anything by proving that she's rolling well, like.
No. It doesn't. That is, and then going, oh look, fuckers! I rolled 20 million dice, and they were all 10s or higher. Look, it's just going to piss them off more.
And then,
if anything, the best thing she could do now is Virgo rolls to be lower for a little bit.
And like sitting there and being like, oh well, because of my expertise, it's like +9 +10. It's like that's fine, but in that case, if you roll shit, just be like, oh, that's a natural 4 for 14. Like. Yeah. Just tell people that you're rolling shit, and then they're not going to think that you're cheating every time you go, oh yeah, that's a 15. Oh yeah, that's a 17. Oh, that's a 20. And it's like, just tell people.
What level did she say the rogue was?
I don't know.
So she says it's like, I think she's a level 10, and her character sheet was from level 8 or something.
And it was a rogue, right?
When the friend had it, yeah.
So if she is genuinely like just got high modifiers on certain stats and she only rolls for those stats, then and your modifiers are like +6s to +8s, then more often than not you're gonna have a +10 result anyway.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, let me play devil's advocate a second. Let's say we play in a campaign together. Jack is my DM, I am a player. Let's say we go for the next 6 months, Jack, where I'm constantly rolling in the top percentile of my dice. Let's say between 13 and 20. Occasionally I'll pop in a little 4 and a 5 there. And you called me out for cheating. And I realistically did roll 1,500 dice, and probability stated, because I'm having a lucky run of 1,500, that I was getting 70% of rolls. Would you still call me a cheater?
Well, first thing is I would never call you out on it, because what's the point? Right? You're not ruining my fun. Like, I'll just make the encounters harder. If I think I think there's a genuine example, I'll just put the DCs higher. It's fine.
I like it.
You know, and that's the thing. That's the thing with like D&D when people get into this position whereby, oh, you're cheating, or you're not doing that properly, or that's not what the rule says. It's like, why does it matter? Just play the games, have fun, and enjoy it, whichever way that happens to be. It's the same with people who optimize characters, right? Go for like the real number crunchers on that stuff. It's like, if you've got a group of people that only want to do that, and they want to be god tier every single encounter, and they enjoy doing it, go for it. Why does it matter? So if she wants to cheat, I'm not saying she is, but if she wants to, fine. But you don't need to go and prove it in such a petty way. That's the thing that's going to make you the asshole, not the actual roll in the dice bit.
It's being petty that gets me.
What I love about it is that in order to prove that she wasn't cheating, she sent a picture of the dice.
Well,
and like someone points out in the comments, they're like, well, you could have just put the dice. Like, natural 20.
Look, guys,
to prove.
Natural.
If she's playing online, why doesn't she just roll digitally?
Yeah, I mean, like we do, right? You can use Foundry. I think even in D&D Beyond, if you roll, like, you can have it so that the other party members see what you've rolled. Like, there's ways that you can do it online and other people can see.
I'm not trying to back this up in any way, but online could also mean just over Discord, where they're just playing.
True, but you could still roll it digitally, right?
There's a problem solved there for sure, isn't there? Like, if people have got issues, and I think really, like, thinking about it, going off of something Jack said, it's like, what's the problem? Because we have to say, we can't actually prove that she's cheating anymore, that we could prove whether she's not cheating. Like, it could be completely legitimate that she just rolls insanely well.
Yeah.
But I think really underneath it is that clearly people in her party are feeling like it's unfair, or like she's not having the same experience that everyone else is having. And that's where the problem is, because it might be fine if she wants to do really well or optimize her character, but clearly there's a problem within the group dynamics that is making it like, this is an unfair experience for me, or they're always succeeding and I'm not. And I think, going back to what you said, Jack, it's kind of like the DM needs to sort that, maybe, in that put the character in situations where they have to use skills that they're not optimized in. Like, Andy, you were getting pissed off with one of my characters, so you found a way to stop it. But you did, right? Do you know what I mean? You're like, this character runs in, runs away again, can't pin him down. So you change the encounters, that character no longer has like an unfair advantage compared to the others. And I feel like that's maybe what needs to happen.
Yeah. It's the whole classic thing with the high AC players and never being able to hit them. Well, just throw magic at them instead because their decks are shit.
Exactly. And in Kate or Orion's case here, the mobile feat with so much movement speed that she can get in and get out. Well, I'm just going to make them grapple you then and just start chucking spells at you.
Yeah, grapple, hold person, like any of those kind of wisdom saves, stop you in your tracks, slow, that could be a cool one. Yeah. Like, there's ways of doing it. So this character's a rogue, there's going to be loads of things that they're not good at, you know?
Force them into a corner where they have to make a check that they wouldn't otherwise be interested in making.
Alternatively, combat situation, no hiding places.
Yeah,
out in the open.
No, hold on. This is D&D. If I roll a natural 20, I should turn invisible, right? Is that not the rule?
Might be in your games. I'm going to be doing that all the time. Action hide. To a 5% chance of being invisible.
All right, isn't it?
What do you guys reckon about the way that this was dealt with? Okay, so we've kind of thought about this person, right? But what do you guys think about the way the situation was handled? Like, was that one group member right for going to the DM? Because like, this person seems a bit pissed off that like they didn't contact them directly and say, "Hi, are you fudging your rolls?" Like, do you think that was the right way to go about it?
Who does that? Like, you sit there and you're like, okay, I'll send Andy a DM and just be like, Andy, are you cheating? Who's going to answer that with an honest, like, with a yes?
Yes, Pip, I am.
You're always cheating, and I still haven't forgiven you. But, like, who's going to answer that question with a yes? So go into the DM, at least the DM can be like, look, I've got a question. Like...
People are sus.
And actually, it is worth pointing out, and I know this is quite a controversial, I don't want to take away from this, but even though the post did mention that this is a player, it does make a big difference whether this is a player having this problem, and people call them out cheating, DM. So D&D is one of those games where the DM can cheat, doesn't take anything away from it. And when I say cheat, I sometimes mean lowering the difficulty of an encounter halfway through. An enemy has lower health than they should have. There's many things that a DM can do within their power that might be considered cheating in a conventional game. So, yeah, I know it's quite a controversial thing that some DMs will also fudge their rolls. I think myself and you, Jack, we just don't fudge our rolls because it's more fun. But a lot of DMs do believe fudging their rolls is a good thing and leads to more narrative storytelling and things like that.
It totally depends in the circumstance and the people you're playing with, which is why the whole thing about like should you go to the DM or straight to the player is like important, because I would say, it depends on the problem you've got. So in this circumstance, I would always go to the DM first and say, have you noticed? Do you think? Oh yeah, maybe. But if it was something where I thought the player's behavior perhaps wasn't quite right and they were doing things in game that I didn't agree with, and maybe I'd go straight to them. So it all depends. The same with fudging rolls. Like, I'd never fudge rolls with you guys. Fuck you. If I roll natural 20s, that's tough shit.
Yeah,
but when I did the session with the kids, I was fudging rolls all day long.
Oh yeah,
because it was appropriate to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it really does depend.
I guess it depends on the experience that you signed up for. Like, if you want to tell a story and have no chance of risk or anything going wrong or anything, there's no need to roll anyway. And actually, I did used to play with a guy. I think I've mentioned this to you guys before. When I used to play like D&D, like in person on a table, there was this one guy that literally used to turn the dice. Like, he'd roll it and turn it on the table. Yeah.
What did you do with him? What happened to him then?
We did nothing. Honestly, because we could all see him doing it, and he wasn't like a bad person or anything. He just
was he having fun?
He was having fun, and it was in
was he
situations
taking away
where,
from
like,
your fun though?
No, it didn't matter. Like if it wasn't like it was giving him an unfair advice. I mean, it was because he was cheating, but it wasn't taking away from our experience in any way. But clearly, in this situation, it's a different thing because someone feels like it is.
It's like Jack said earlier, it's not a competition. Like, the whole point of D&D is that you play together. Like, if someone's rules were directly against yours, so like if you're playing rollies, for example, and like they rolled a nat 20 and you got a 2, then yeah, fair enough, it's a competition and you want the better roll. But if you're literally just playing and somebody goes, oh, make a perception check, and they roll really well, how does that affect you unless you were also making the perception check and then you miss out on some aspect of it?
Yeah. And I think it really comes down to, can you win it? I don't think there is a right answer to that, because you're not trying to win. It's not a game you win at. Does that make sense?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
You have one dragon and one dungeon. You're like halfway there. 2 dragons, 2 dungeons, you've won D&D.
Oh, was that it? It's 2 dragons, 2 dungeons.
It's dungeons and dragons, not dungeon and dragon.
Actually, no, you make a good point, Pip. I will refute my statement. You can win at D&D if you kill a total of 2 dragons and do 2 dungeons. I'll bear that in mind.
So, what are we guys thinking? Are they asshole? Are we saying they're lawful good? Are we saying they're chaotic evil? What do you reckon?
I'm saying they are...
or not?
Chaotic, good.
Neutral.
No,
I'm going for chaotic neutral.
Chaotic neutral.
Yeah. They are the asshole, and they're not the asshole. But also, anybody who sits and rolls 150 dice to try and prove a point is a bit of a lunatic.
Yeah, like, have you not got a job?
With the boyfriend as well. Like, how long were they sitting there together? And she was like, watch every single one of my
I don't know, but
roles.
he's got some. He's really committed, isn't he?
Yeah. There is no greater sign of love.
I am going to change my answer. Chaotic evil, because she took the piss out of probability, so probability doesn't exist.
Yeah,
it's just
true. Statistics don't work in the real world, guys.
Andy's a maths apologist.
I'm a realist. Maths exist, guys.
So, what are we going for? Verdict. Asshole? Show me your thumbs.
Wait, which way is which? Like, yes, the arsehole?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, yeah, hello? I don't know.
Yeah.
Darren Knobber.
Purely for the reaction to it, they are the arsehole.
Yeah, Reddit was very much in agreement. Lots of people saying that they're the asshole. You roll really well. Sorry, that's not how probability works. You're not magic. There's a lot of comments, a lot of people kind of pointing out that taking the pictures didn't really prove anything as well.
I'm going to stop doing that whenever Jack asks for anything really important. Can you make me a death saving throw? Here's a picture of a D20. I rolled a natural 20. I've got one.
But when I'm
rolling nat 20s for days from now on.
So Andy asked me to roll a dice out of game the other day, and I filmed it, which is slightly different.
Well, yeah, because if you you could do multiple takes.
But I know he did. He did like 5 takes and then sent me the.
And then he picked the one.
And then I sent you the 3. Yeah, all right.
I've got to make it real. I've got to make it real.
Why would I even roll? I would just set the dice to the right thing and then just take a picture of it.
At some point, you've got the question of if somebody goes, "Oh yeah, just roll a dice and like video it." There's a time scale in which that's reasonable. Like, it gets to the point where you're like, "Hang on a second, this has taken a while for you to roll one dice."
But also, I would never ask anybody to take a video or a picture of it because I trust you to give me the right answer. And if you don't give me the right answer, that's on you, not me.
You don't know what it's for. It could be like, how much gold do you turn up with? In which case, like, 3 is terrible. You know?
One thing the DM could do is invert the DC.
Yeah, flip it and just make it up.
1's high, 20's low, and then see what she comes out with.
Yeah.
There you go. Right, guys, are you ready for your second Am I the Asshole story?
I'm ready to disagree with Jack on something. I want to really disagree with Jack.
Well, let's see, because this next one
I know where you live, kind of.
Am I the asshole?
I have a vague idea of where you live.
Am I the asshole for blowing up at my husband because he counted his work on our D&D game as one of his chores? So, here we go. I, 35 female, and my husband, 35 male, have been together for 10 years, blissfully happy, no notes. Over COVID, we got into Dungeons & Dragons. We have a weekly game that runs from 3 to 4 hours with 3 other friends. 5 of us have been going on adventures for the past few years, meeting consistently over Zoom. I've been having a great time overall. My husband is the DM, which means he does a lot of work preparing the sessions. This includes coming up with the characters we're going to have conversations with, NPCs, if you will, figuring out the battles we're going to fight, and so on. I really appreciate his work. On the other hand, I've been feeling like I'm doing a lot more chores in our partnership. I cook a lot, clean the kitchen, help with the laundry, do most of the driving. We tried splitting chores before. There was a period where he would fold laundry or do cleaning while I cooked, but it didn't last beyond a week or 2. I normally don't particularly mind, but life has been especially shit lately due to health issues in the family, and I think it put extra stress on us. So the other day, I cooked dinner. Here we go, this is where we get to the drama bit. During dinner, he was giving me a sneak peek of the magical items he made for the blacksmith in the new town, and I guess I didn't look as excited, so he asked me why. I said, "I'll be excited when you clean up the kitchen after we're done eating." This started a major argument, and we really don't have many of those, so it was a bit intense, about how I don't appreciate his work on this campaign. I countered by saying he's free to work on his hobbies as much as he wants, but it's not the same thing as helping me out with the chores. To this, he countered that his work on this D&D campaign counts as a chore, just like cooking and cleaning. He said he provides a space for hanging out with our friends every week. In a way, he's organising and scheduling our social life, and that it takes a lot of work. I thought this was an absolutely bonkers perspective. This is where things escalated because I was sort of befuddled, I still am, and he got really hurt. He did say, the fact that you're asking this shows you don't understand how much work I put into this campaign. For the record, I did run a leg of the campaign as the DM for a few weeks and it was a lot of work. But it was a hobby, at least to me. It was a fun thing I elected to do, not something I needed to do like a chore. He pointed out that I don't need to cook either. We can afford to eat out every night and hire a cleaning service for sorting out the apartment. He's not wrong. We can afford it, but it still felt weird. I eventually let it go, but I feel like I'm going to need some sort of resolution to this because I can feel the resentment bubbling in my chest. I don't want to win an argument, I'm not looking for vindication, but can someone give me an insight into this conflict? Am I wrong? Am I being the asshole here?
I'm going to stay quiet for this one because judging by your facial reaction, I might disagree.
I mean, right. Let's pretend it wasn't D&D for a second, right? And it was something else. Let's say they were both really, really into snowboarding. Right? I don't know. And he ran the local snowboarding club. And in order for that club to have to work so that she can go and snowboard in it, he's got to do that thing. Is it the same thing, or is it now different?
I agree. That's the same thing.
To an extent, yes.
Depends if she's also enjoying the snowboarding club, because I guess his argument is, this is a thing I do that we both enjoy.
So,
do they not both enjoy the food?
Well, yeah.
Right.
But they can hire they can get delivery every night, apparently, these guys.
Well, then she don't need to do the cooking and the cleaning, does she? She can sit around and help. She could run her own campaign if she wasn't doing so much cooking and cleaning.
What do you think, guys? Everyone's very quiet on this.
I don't know. Prepping DM stuff is a lot of work.
It's hard.
And it's not just coming up with NPCs or encounters. It's storylines, worlds, map building, scheduling, keeping the peace, all that kind of stuff, all the drama that goes on behind the scenes. It is hard work. But
my only argument would be that it's not a chore, purely because in my brain, a chore is something you do around the house to clean the house or keep the house running. So to me, it's not a chore. It's not easy. I don't envy any of yous having to do all the prep that yous do for sessions. It's insane. And I get his argument, but it's not a chore. That's the only thing I'm up with is it's not a chore.
So I am a lazy bastard. I get told off every single week for not doing chore. Now, my missus doesn't play D&D, so I can't come up with the excuse of, I can't prep D&D. I'm sorry, I just got to do it. But I do make that excuse. And I do be like, hey, I can't cook dinner tonight. My main excuse is because I can't cook dinner, but it's meant to be prepare D&D. Or I don't wash up because I say, oh, I've got to do a bit of work tonight. Prepping D&D instead. It is a lot of work, and I think if they both enjoy it, I kind of agree that it does count as a chore. My opinion.
I don't think it's a chore. It's not a chore, but it's forget chores. There are activities that you do, right? If it was a list of activities for the week, not chores of the week, then would that be different? If the two were together, probably yeah. Not. But yeah, I think if she wasn't into it, I'd get it. But what he should do is just all right, well, fine. I'm not going to prep then. Let's see what happens.
It's she even admits that she did a leg of the campaign and it was hard work. She can't argue that he doesn't help around the house and then acknowledge that what he's doing is really difficult.
But also want him to do it.
Yeah. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, you have to help me around the house, but also spend all of your time putting the same amount of work that you've put into this campaign for the past God knows how long that I really enjoy doing. But you also have to spend all of your time doing all the stuff I want you to do around the house. That's not how it works.
You know what I think? I think the biggest issue here, because you're going to ask at the end of this, is she an ass? The answer's no, she's not an ass. But I don't think her husband's an asshole either. I think they just speak to each other and just have it out. Don't ask opinions of people on Reddit. Much as I love Reddit, I read them every single day. It's not the best place to sort out marital advice.
It was the bit at the end when she was like, I'm not looking for... What was it she said? I'm not looking for what?
She said she's not looking to win an argument. She's not looking for vindication. Can someone give me insight into this conflict?
Because you've just posted the whole fucking thing to Reddit. So you absolutely are.
Yeah, she's looking for vindication for sure. I think...
The insight is your husband does something for you and your friends and his friends that you really enjoy. Take it.
Yeah.
Well, I maybe it's like a miscommunication about how much they enjoy it. So he's obviously maybe he thinks he is doing it for her. Like, he's doing this he's making this wonderful campaign. He's trying to create these great encounters, these wonderful moments in the game that she really enjoys so that she's happy. And he's doing that out of love. And in his head, that's the way it looks. So when he comes and he shows her, look at all this cool shit I've done with the campaign. Isn't that going to be great when we get to play? And she turns around and goes, I do fucking cooking. Then it's going to be like, well, what the fuck? I was like, I thought I was doing this for you, for us.
Yeah.
And then you're not cool with it. So
I think there's like a few things here. So one, Andy can't cook. We spent 20 minutes the other day trying to tell him how to cook bacon.
I can't cook bacon.
It was incredibly difficult.
We were like, you know, it's cooked when it looks like it's cooked.
What do you mean you can't cook bacon?
I put it in the top bit of the oven and then closed the door, and it didn't cook for like 3 hours. And I had to call up my mum, and she said it's because you closed the door. If you close the door, the heat turns off. It took me 3 hours to work that out.
He's talking about the fucking grill, Jack.
Yeah, but it sounds like he's not even turning the grill on. But anyway, regardless, forget the sidetrack. Number one, Andy can't cook. Number two, I don't know here, because I think, I don't want to get all psychologist on it, but there's a few different things. So they're both coming from different angles. And I think the fundamental problem is they're both feeling underappreciated for the things that they do by the other person. So he feels underappreciated for doing all this prep on the D&D campaign, which she also enjoys. She feels underappreciated for doing the washing, laundry, cooking, washing up. And there is a bit of a thing in research that shows that women do a lot of invisible chores. So things that, like, you don't necessarily notice they've been done because, like, you've eaten it, the clothes are away, like the floor's been hoovered, but you didn't even notice that it got hoovered in the first place. So I feel like the issue is not necessarily like, is it a chore, is it not a chore? It's that they're not appreciating the other person's contribution, and they both feel like they've got the worst end of the deal, potentially, right?
Yeah.
I fully agree. And this honestly sounds like my life. I'm on the other end of it. But in my situation, I am the arsehole because I don't do a lot.
You are. Today I learned I'm not a very good woman because I couldn't tell you the last time I fucking hoovered.
But it doesn't...
Yeah, but I don't even know what a hoover is.
I'm not saying the woman should hoover and the man should do like, in this situation, that is the arrangement. But whatever your arrangement is you both need to feel like there's an equal split of the work that you're doing, and they don't feel like that. And instead of sitting down and being like, can we talk about this? I need some more help around the house, and leading with like, I really appreciate with your work on the D&D campaign, or I really appreciate you doing the cooking and the cleaning and the washing. They're both like having at each other. And the fact that they say at the beginning, like they're both coming from defensive positions, you know? And the fact that at the very beginning, she's like, we've been together for 10 years, blissfully happy, we don't have arguments, makes me think that like, Yeah, well, I don't know. It's either like they're so happy that they just don't have conflicts and so they're not used to resolving them, or like they can resolve conflicts and they'll probably be fine, you know?
You need to have conflict. Conflict is good. I'll walk in there and get shouted at all the time. That's just how it goes. I'd feel something would be weird if I didn't get shouted at on a daily basis. Good.
What do you guys
just
think?
Give me a ring, mate. I'll happily do it for you.
I don't know. I feel like all they need to do is sit down and be like, let's do some kind of rota. You know, like you do your DND planning on like a Monday and Tuesday night or something, and then do the cooking on that. Like that's it, right? Like just pick something that works.
His face there, I'm starting to think that secretly his wife does play D&D and she's written this post because there was just panic on his face. Like, no rota.
No, if there was a rota in place, I'm going to my mate's house for a couple of weeks. I ain't doing no rota.
So we can say that Andy is the asshole, but is this person an asshole or not an asshole?
I mean, it depends. Like, blowing up, like, we don't know the ins and outs of the argument and what was said. But
well, like, she said she started it with, "I'll be excited when you clean up the kitchen after we're done eating."
Yeah, that's a bit asshole, I'm not gonna lie.
It's a bit kind of, I was gonna say, is it passive aggressive or?
Yeah,
kind
generally not. Generally, neither are assholes.
Yeah,
but there's a sprinkling of asshole from her on her.
It's a misunderstanding.
The reaction, it was an asshole reaction.
Yeah,
and he stopped saying asshole because it's a weird asshole.
But she does say too, as well, there's been some illness in the family, or there's more stress or illness. So, you know, we don't know. Maybe there's like a lot of stress going on, and maybe we can forgive her a little bit of assholeness. We don't, you know, could be something that she's dealing with. Who knows? So, what are we going? Alignment check.
They need to sit down and have an adult conversation.
Neutral.
Yep.
Neutral.
Nobody is an asshole here.
No one's an asshole.
Except Andy.
Except me. I am an asshole.
That's rubber stamped at this point.
Interestingly, a lot of the comments here, so Reddit thinks not the asshole. Hobby time is hobby time and not chore time. So I think you've been blissfully happy because of your tendency to just let shit go. You've let shit go to the point that now he has something that involves work is seen as a chore when it's firmly a hobby. Just ask yourself how many times you've bitten your lip or just put a complaint aside to keep the peace. Your husband has been ludicrous and trying to avoid his fair share. Having run games for nearly 40 years, I've never once considered it a household chore. They said it requires time and effort, but it's a hobby. It's not the same as washing dishes, mopping floors, or scrubbing toilets to maintain a household. Another person, not the asshole. Careful, one says he's turning D&D into his life. It's no longer a hobby to him, and you might point out that he doesn't get paid for it. So Reddit is kind of firmly in the not the asshole camp, which is kind of different to us, I guess. Maybe it's because we're all obsessed with D&D.
Why don't we get paid for it? Huh? That's the real story here. Pay me money.
Fuck off.
All right, that's the end of that.
Right? Are we doing one more?
Unionized very quickly there.
He got on board really fast.
Send us money.
I will pay you, Andy, when you stop killing the things I love.
Never.
Well, there we go. You're not getting paid, are you?
No.
Are we ready for one more, the third and final Am I the Ass story of this first episode of Crit or Miss? Okay, here we go. Am I the asshole for hating this guy that joined our D&D campaign late? ? And it does have a trigger warning on this one. It says aggressive and inappropriate behaviour. Okay, so this is from June 2024, so it's pretty recent. Okay, prefacing this by saying I'm an autistic woman. The man who joined is an autistic man. My question stems from wanting an outside opinion on if I'm valid in my dislike or if it's stemming from internal ableism towards autistic people. And if the latter is the case, I'll need to have a sit down with myself and figure my shit out. So, into the story. I'm in a D&D group with my husband, 2 other married couples, a married man and a single man, now with the addition of another single man. In total, 6 men, 3 women. Without the additional person, we'd already had 7 sessions and have built a specific vibe for our party, and while very chaotic, it was working. My issue begins when the new guy is introduced to our characters. This specific session, the other women couldn't make it, and so I was the only one. Everyone at the table knows I'm not very good with new people and can take a few meets to warm up to them. This new man introduced his character by yelling at us to stop while we're trekking through the woods, running over to my character, or in his words, hugging her and refusing to let go. I made an off comment about how creepy that would be that a random man would come up to a woman and grapple her in the woods and then not say anything else, which he then proceeded to reiterate that he was hugging her multiple times, which I then said that hugging makes it even creepier. I was uncomfortable and DM could tell how weird it was making me feel since we've been friends for a long time, and so told me to do whatever would be your character's natural response in this situation. He reiterated that statement when I said I don't know if I want to do that, because that would definitely not go well for this new character. Sorry, that's confusingly written. DM made it clear this new character was to be a party member. Okay, so the DM saying, do whatever you want to do, and she's saying, I'm not sure that that's going to go well, considering he's going to be joining our group.
I'm going to stab him, yeah.
So I swung at him. I rolled low, so didn't actually hit, but the other men in the party were feeling protective and decided to escalate it. This new character was beaten to within an inch of his life. While the combat was going on, about 20 minutes, this character turned out to be a barbarian, so was super beefy. Everyone was giving the player tips on how to de-escalate the situation. Tips like, let her go or surrender, just say you're sorry, explain that you're friendly and didn't mean to start a fight. Just a bit of side info, this new guy knew everyone but me. All the guys work together and know him, and I would say are very friendly / patient people and were doing this in a very calm way. They were beating the shit out of him in a very calm way. Eventually he surrendered and we went on with the session, but the entire night I felt gross and creeped out. He made sure to say at every chance there was to speak throughout the real world night that his character was crying in a bush even when combat was happening. It's making me not want to go to the next session because he will be there, and I can't tell if the reason for that is because of the situation or some unconscious bias about other autistic people that I need to locate in my mind and address. Or maybe it's even a bit of both. I asked my husband what he thought, and he agreed that it was super creepy and he didn't feel comfortable having this guy around me or my character, and so was feeling a bit protective both through his character and himself. He said he'll support me whatever my decision is, so no issues here. I just wanted a few other opinions before deciding how I feel about it all. Please help, am I overreacting?
My first question is, where did this new guy come from? If that, did the DM say, are you okay if I add somebody else to the campaign? Was he supposed to join from the start and there were scheduling issues? Because...
No, just,
just randomly saying, this new guy joined our campaign, why?
So, just so I'm clear then, only one session has occurred where events have happened, right? It's just been one session.
Yeah.
Wow. This is the session, yeah. So she's asking at the end of this session. So at the point where she posted this, that session had happened and they were going to do another session and this guy was going to be there and she was thinking, am I right to feel creeped out?
So there's a lot of deep stuff here, but I think at the very top level of it is some players don't mesh well with other players. That is true. You can have a player that just doesn't vibe at your table. Vibe with the DM, doesn't vibe with other players, and it's quite fine for that player to say, sorry guys, I don't vibe here, I'm going to go somewhere else. It's also fine for the players to say, sorry, I don't think you quite fit here, and it's in a DM's right to do that. In my opinion, you can't get that sense of that within one session. No. Especially over that small, tiny interaction, which in my head, okay. Character saying stop and running over and giving a hug. I don't know.
There's a difference between whether that's and what we don't know, and only that player knows, is whether that's a true RP or whether that is them doing themselves, but through the player, through the character. I mean, we will never know that. So you can only give that character and that player a chance to kind of, if you might get to the point where you go, oh, they are just playing a creepy character. The individual themselves is fine.
Yeah.
Like, all right, let's take Jim, right? For anybody that, okay.
He's definitely not fine. What are you on about?
Yeah, there's so many things that are not fine there.
Let's break down Jim for the next 2 minutes.
Yeah. So
this podcast took a turn.
James, the founder of Crit Happens, is otherwise, pretty sound guy. But he plays a character who's he's a chaotic, evil lined character, right? Asai. So he does some weird, creepy shit. And as character, and when we RP with him, we're like, you're a fucking creepy bastard. But we know that's just Jim. Jim is on the other side, and he's not actually like that. She doesn't know that guy well enough to know whether that's true, whether that's the same situation or not, or whether it's something different. And there's more questions. So how well do the other players know this guy from work? Has he just been thrown in like last minute because he said he was interested, but they don't really know him? So much shit like that. So it needs time.
Let me try and jump in on the defense there again, Jack, because I like playing devils. Let's say I'm your DM, you're my player, and we've had 7 or so sessions. You don't know Jim at all, and I've brought him into our campaign and he's playing Asai. Would that make you uncomfortable? You don't know him. Just started doing creepy shit. Just out of nowhere.
The creepy shit that Asai does?
Yeah. Like, is it not creepy because we know Jim and we know what Jim's like?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. So because we know Jim and we know him from other campaigns, we know him as a DM, and we know that he's not reenacting himself through his character, that we're okay with it. So what I'm saying here is she doesn't know the actual player, so the challenge she's having is this the character, or is this the player that I'm seeing in the game? And the only way you're going to learn that is by playing more. And if you've got a concern after like a few more sessions and the shit continues to go on, then you have to speak to the DM and say, this guy is just not vibing with me. The way he plays his character, the way he plays above the table, all this kind of stuff doesn't work. So I don't think one session, like you said, is enough to judge either of them.
Guys, there's an update.
There's an update.
We love an edit.
Brilliant.
Wow. So maybe, so this is, where is this? This is August 2024. Thought I would update, since it's been a while since my post. Before the creepy guy was added to our campaign, DM asked my husband what he thought of inviting him, and my husband told him that he's a creep even at work, so why would they want him around their loved ones? DM said that he isn't that bad and invited him anyway, which then led to this situation. After it happened, I talked to everyone, minus the DM, in the party, and they all agreed after thinking about it that it was incredibly creepy and uncomfortable. I talked to DM about it after coming to the consensus that I wasn't overreacting, and while he apologised and said he would talk to him, he took his side and told me I should have said something, even though I did numerous times when it was happening. The week after the incident, barely anyone showed up and the vibe was definitely strained. DM kept getting annoyed at people more than normal. A few people commented that this campaign feels like it's dying and started talking about new characters they would like to make, and DM said it wouldn't be a problem since his world is open world, so he could just fit a new party in if needed. By the end of the session, everyone left feeling kind of awkward and off. My husband and I had plans the next 2 weeks, and we let the DM know. Apparently no one else showed up for those 2 weeks, and on the 3rd week, DM sent a message to the group chat that he was calling the end of the campaign. DM's wife is now ignoring me, and I already have a complex about how few friends I had. She says I'm a housewife. So I'm overall feeling like I'm to blame for the whole situation. What's done is done, but I did enjoy having Friday D&D nights, even if now we've apparently burned the bridge of our game friends.
DM's the asshole.
Yeah, DM's the arsehole.
DM's yeah.
Like, there is no backtracking from that. That DM is the problem.
Yeah.
That is sad. That's a sad ending to something that got blown out of proportion. But that is sad.
So the DM, despite all the players saying, we don't really want this guy to play with us, brought him in anyway. Big red flag. Then, after raising concerns, it does nothing about it, and then tries to gaslight the player and saying, you never told me about it, and then creates awkwardness, and then ends the campaign. It's like a sort of DM.
That is as clear cut as it gets.
His wife is also an arsehole.
Yeah. No, wait, was the DM's wife a player as well? I can't remember.
Yeah.
So, right. I mean, one of the comments actually kind of comments on this. They say, my first thought is that there are way too many players at this table. Mm-hmm. They have 9 player characters and then added a 10th. So there were like 7. A few married couples, a couple of married but without their partners. There's a lot of people there.
I thought that when you were saying about this couple and that couple, I thought that she must be like the 8 or 9th player. Yeah. But there was too many players as well, so...
There's a lot. And I feel kind of sad that obviously it's ended that way. And I kind of think for a group of adults, the fact that it's led to everyone just like not talking about it, and then this woman being kind of blamed for the downfall, like could there not have been a conversation at some point that was a bit more
I'll tell you
rational?
What, if you're watching this, come to our Discord. Play with us.
Come and join us.
Not the creepy guy or the DM.
No, bring the I want the creepy guy too. I want the creepy guy.
Everyone is welcome here at Crit Happens, guys.
We've done that. We've done that here. So we've had campaigns where the campaign started and a player has turned out to be a red flag. And in discussion, the DMs will then discuss and we'll be like, I'll recommend not. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you got to be a bit ruthless with it. You think about, like, so the Useless Fucks Vandelver group, they've dropped 1 player, but I've deliberately not filled that gap because that campaign's been going on so long that I don't want to fuck the party dynamics by bringing somebody they perhaps don't know or don't vibe with or don't like. You know, the character then changes to change that whole thing. So I've kept it protected. And that's not because I don't want to play with other people, but because that's the fairest thing to do for those players.
No, it's because I don't want to play with other people.
I came in for 1 session and they killed me.
Yeah, I mean, you're
really awkward about tomorrow now, Pip.
I'm not playing. It's fine, Kate.
I can be in that one. It sounds like there was
slightly different to bringing in a whole new player. The part that the group doesn't know, like everybody knows you, so that's kind of different.
I think I agree with that. I don't think I run a Curse of Strahd campaign. And this far in now, I don't think I would ever bring in a new player. So, as these guys know, we've just had 2 temporary players. Jack's doing whatever Jack does. But these players have been in our Discord for a long time. We know these players. We play with these players. So it made sense. And it's funny being a little temporary thing. I don't think I'd ever bring in a brand new player into that campaign. Because it's set, it's made, vibe is there.
Especially when you don't know and the other players don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you start a new campaign, right, and you session 0 it with some players you do know and maybe some you don't, you use your session 0 to get some vibes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so. And can I just bring up one topic? I don't think we actually went through this. Is this woman playing with just a party of paladins? Because they all just white knighted her straight away, didn't they? And beat the shit out of this guy.
I mean,
like, who does that?
I kind of have a bit of an issue with this. Maybe more of an issue. I don't think necessarily anyone said this in the comments, actually. But okay, fine. This guy may be a major creep. We don't know. But we have to also acknowledge that this post is written from a very specific perspective. It was written by this woman who's feeling already quite creeped out, so fine. But I also wonder, like, this new guy kind of came into the group and he starts off by hugging a person, and it sounds like there needed to be a discussion. You know, like we often have in our campaigns where we say, like, okay, this is a new group, like, what's okay and what's not okay. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, Andy, you did it at the beginning of Curse for Strahd. You were like, this is dark. Like, if there's anything that's not okay for you, let us know at the outset. And maybe that was, you know, she needs not the onus on her, but maybe the DM needs to say, like, okay, at the outset of this, non-consensual hugging is no-go. Like, that makes people uncomfortable. Fine. Because we have to, like, when we play and you're talking about Jim being creepy, we're all kind of okay with him being creepy because we're not necessarily getting triggered by it, right? But maybe if you're in a different position and you're like, this is making me super uncomfortable, it's a different thing. But I also think this person who's come into a new group, and maybe they're a massive creep, we don't know, we only have this person and their post to judge. I kind of think he came in, hugged, maybe it went badly wrong. And the first thing that, you know, she says she gave warnings and things. And if that's the case, it's different. But everyone freaking starts beating up this character. And I just think for a group of adults, could not one person have tried to handle the situation in a slightly different way? Like, could one of the characters not have said, whoa, who's this guy? Like... You just came out of the woods and hugged our friend. That's weird, man. Who are you? You know, like, I don't think it's all the DM's responsibility to deal with that.
Yeah, it is. And like, in certain situations in a campaign, certain things can lead to PvP. And in my opinion, no good situation comes from PvP unless it's discussed, right? And when I mean PvP, I mean full-on player character death from another source other than just discussing it first, right? So especially when a new player comes in, sometimes it's very hard to do introductions of a new player, let alone just a new character from a player that might have just had a character that recently died. So sometimes that interaction is awkward. Sometimes the other player characters just don't like that character instantly, but they'll grow to like him. The answer is not pummel on him and beat the piss out of him. Like, that's, you just... I don't know. You're not forced to like them, but you also, if you were with your mates in a pub and somebody invited that creepy guy that no one likes, you don't just all beat him up in the pub, do you? You know what I mean?
You've never been in Newcastle.
Because what you said was that all the other players had said to the DM before that this guy's a creep at work, why are you bringing him in? And then they've used the opportunity to vicariously beat the shit out of him.
Oh, right, so that's fine. Yeah, if he's creep.
Well, I
mean, what I'm saying is
that
they've done that.
The husband said he was a creep. The DM said he was fine, and apparently all the guys work together. So there's different. I mean, I don't know. We don't know. We can only go on what's written. And I definitely am not blaming this woman because she was clearly in a situation that made her feel super uncomfortable, and it was just handled the wrong way. But I think it's also not all the DM's fault. Like, I don't think he handled it well. But we have this thing, I was messaging you, Andy, the other day, and I was like, I think there's a bit of a thing in D&D where it's like the DM is like omnipotent. And it's like you are in terms of making up the rules and writing the game and making sure people have fun with that aspect. But you're not responsible for all of the other players' behavior and morals at the same time. Like, they're adults who are engaging participants, you know? Like, it's partly their responsibility to also like resolve the situation if it's going a bit sideways. I think in game,
I'm not there to be your mums and dads. All right, the adults are there to regulate their own behaviour.
Sit on the naughty step.
Equally, though, I don't know, because if you know you're going to bring in somebody that might be controversial, that is on you. If you're going to allow it.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with that. They definitely should have had, like, the discussion about it. But what I'm saying is there's multiple people probably at fault here. Like, the DM for bringing them in without having the discussion, you know, like, or someone saying he's a bit of a creep, would really rather prefer they didn't. And then there's all the players for kind of, they were trying to be helpful, but I don't know whether it made the situation worse.
And going back to the beginning, even if I considered this person a creep, but the DM has said, hey, this guy's gonna be okay. At that point, I don't know enough that I would give him the benefit of the doubt. But during the game, I do think it was very much an overreaction to a, hey, stop, I would like to give this player a cuddle, to then escalating very, very quickly to beating the absolute piss out of him with about 7 other people. Like,
well, we don't know why that character did that, though. So I can imagine a scenario where the character has a backstory and the DM says, I'm going to introduce you in the woods. You're going to find them walking through, and one of them looks like your long-lost sister.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't
So
know.
we don't know why that guy did that.
Yeah,
He could have been playing it completely innocently. I gotta go, guys, unfortunately. But
well, let's do a quick rating. Asshole or not asshole? Alignment check.
She's not an asshole.
She's not the asshole.
She's not the
Whichever way that's meant to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, we need to figure out the thumb situation.
The next time a new player comes in, don't judge them too quickly. Unless you know them from work and they're a creep, then judge them quickly. I think that's the kicker for that bit.
But the DM, definitely an asshole.
DM's a dick.
Yes.
DM's a dick.
All right, well, Jack's got to go and do his whatever things he does at night.
Apparently that's a thing.
Well, that's been our first episode of Crit or Miss Alignment Check. Tune in next time. We'll get some more controversial stories. We'll get some more judgments, and we'll hopefully have wigs, gavels, and our thumb signals actually figured out instead of going like...
And I will just be here in not a wig without a gavel and probably no desk, because this one does not feel particularly sturdy.
See you next time, guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you later. Cool.
Got to wait for ages. The whole point. You got.